to my channel and my blank, boring background. I still don't know what to do with this background. I thought I would move out of this space by now, but there's my background. Also, my ring light broke. Yes, it is a tiny one, but we're gonna have to rely on natural lighting just for today. Honestly, I am so nervous about making this video. I have been wanting to make this video for such a long time, and I stalled on it because I was not sure if I wanted to share it or whatnot. Also, big disclaimer, huge disclaimer, I am not gonna name the name of the company that I worked for because that is honestly not relevant. I'm just here to share my experiences working at a call center and some of the funny things that have happened to me. I loved my job working at a call center. I had some great experiences and my company was amazing. I had great managers. With this video, I'm just sharing funny experiences and encounters that have happened to me. I'm not here to bash anyone or anything, but I might give you guys some tips on what to do if you do happen to call a call center. You may not know this, but they know a lot more about you than you think because of everything that's in our computer screen, and you don't want to embarrass yourself in some way. But first, if you are new to the channel, my name is Sadaba and I make makeup and storytime related content. If that is something that you're interested in, please subscribe, and without further ado, let's get on with the stories. Okay, I'm gonna need some water because I'm gonna talk a lot in this video. Okay, so I have made a list. A little bit of background on the job that I worked at. I was basically the first tier of people that received phone calls. So if you ever called a 1-800 number on any company like AT&T, a hotel company, a bank company, I was those people on the other side of that 1-800 number. And at the calls, well, they called it a service center. At the service center that I worked at, I was one of the first people that you would talk to because I was not licensed. I didn't have that many experience. So a lot of times I would transfer people to other people because I either couldn't help them or I didn't have much experience. And the company that I did work at, the only thing I'm gonna say about this company is that we dealt with money, people's money, people's investments, bank information. Now, I'm saying this information to give you an image of what kind of people I had to deal with on the phone. Considering it was about money, it's a much more sensitive topic rather than somebody who ordered a service and the service wasn't done right and they're on the phone hey, you guys didn't do a good job. They can always come back and fix it. With money, it's a little bit of a tricky subject. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is people who call in and pretend that they are somebody else. Please, 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 for the love of God, do not do this. I don't think people realize this, but if you ever call a company, especially a multi-billion-dollar company, chances are this company has some sort of voice recognition. And I remember specifically speaking to a coworker, and they were just hey, if for example, if I call Amazon 5 times and I'm hey, this is Sadaba, my order did this, and then I called 4 more times with my name. If my mom calls the next time and she pretends that it is me, after the phone call, people are going to recognize, hey, this was not the same person calling, they have a different voice, and if my mom calls again, they're going to ban or shut her account. And that is what I heard. I don't know how extensive it is because the shutting and the banning of the account usually happens afterwards. So there's that. So with that being said, the very first call I want to talk about, this guy called in and he wanted to know the status of some paperwork that he faxed in. He was just hey, I faxed in this. Wow, my cat is so chatty today. So he faxed in some paperwork. He's hey, I wanted to know if you guys received it or when you will go through with the agreement that he signed. And so I told him, I was yeah, we received the paper. And he's okay, I want to check on the status of my wife's. And I'm well, your wife's account is separate and you are not listed on her account, so I would have to speak to her. All of a sudden, keep in mind, I was really tired this day. I think I was tired, but I heard like this woman's voice, and so I spoke to her. I verified her social security and stuff like that. It wasn't until halfway through the call that I realized this guy was pretending to be him and his wife at the same time, because the voice sounded exactly the same. And with a lot of call centers, you can go back and hear your phone conversation. And so it was funny because I had to pause the call, and I told my manager, and my manager, I loved her so much. She was so petty. She was just like, you can tell this guy, wow, you and your wife's voice sound so similar, or like you guys sound like the resemblances and uncanny, or something along those lines. Let me just show you guys a visual representation of what happened. Yes, sir, I'm gonna have to speak with your wife. Can you please put her on the phone? Oh yeah, sure, why not? Hi, how are you? Who is this? This is Samantha. I'm his wife. Interesting. I'll be honest with you, I am not good with like imitations. Like, I'm good with like imitating people's actions, but voices I'm not. But like, it sounded like a man that was pretending to be a woman, or a man that was trying to sound like a woman. So if I did a bad job of like trying to sound like that, I'm sorry, but like I was trying to do a visual representation of like what exactly happened. So anyways, after the call ended, I didn't know what to do, and so my manager was like, well, the stuff that he was asking about wasn't too confidential, like it is something that a spouse can know about each other. And she just was like, don't worry about it. Like, if he asked for like very specific information and tried to withdraw money, that's like a different situation. But like for that one, it was okay. But it was so weird because this guy was like pretending to be his wife, and because I'm an idiot, or because I was too tired, I didn't realize it until like much later throughout the call. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, and this is so funny, is hold time. So this one particular day, there was like a long hold time. Like, we had a huge influx of calls. It was very busy. I don't remember what was going on. I think it was like the beginning of COVID maybe, but like we were like super duper busy. And so on our monitors, it tells you how long the customer was on hold, like an hour or 2 hours. And this one guy was on hold for a couple of hours. And so I picked up the call and I was like, hello, this is so-and-so company. My name is Saraba. How can I help you? And the first thing I hear is, can I order a double cheeseburger with large fries? And then I hear a woman saying, yes, your total is like $10.75 or something like that. And I was just like, hello? No answer. And I was like, hello? No answer. And then finally, after like the third hello, the guy was like, yeah, sorry about that. I was like ordering food. And like, I know it sounds weird speaking it, but like in real life, that was just so funny. Because like normally if somebody's on hold for hours, the first thing they do is yell at you like, why was I on hold for so long? And this guy, he didn't have a care in the world. He was running errands while he was on hold, which we totally appreciated. Now that I no longer work in that like service industry, I am very patient with people on the phone because I know that they can't help that there's a long wait time. But I thought that was just so funny. Like, I was not expecting, like, imagine like calling somebody and you're expecting to hear hello, but they're like, can I order a double cheeseburger with fries? I thought that was funny. He ended up asking for something very simple and I was about to help him right away, but that was like the only part of that conversation that was funny. So in another instance, this guy called in. He was on vacation. I think he was in the Bahamas or something, and he was like, hey, I'm having trouble logging into my account. And I was like, yeah, sure, I can help you with that. You know, can I have your social security number or your username? But I needed his information to like look up his account and send him like a password reset thing. And I asked him for his username and he just like paused. Like, there was like no answer. And I was like, sir, can I have your username so I can look you up? And and this was before like verifying him. He goes, yeah, sure, it's 69 Big Daddy. And when he said this, I literally had to like mute myself because I was laughing so hard. And I'm not an immature person. If you think that I'm immature for laughing, I told one of my managers who was shadowing me at the time, I was in training during this period. I was not like full-time on the phones. We were just training, and so I told one of my managers, I'm like, this guy's username is 69 Big Daddy. And then he, like, keep in mind, he's a grown adult, he has his life together, and he was laughing so hard that he tapped my friend on her shoulder to be like, hey, this guy's username is 69 Big Daddy. And my friend was on the phone with a woman who was crying and yelling at her, and so my friend did not know how to react. She's just like, okay, like, she didn't know what to say, but this guy like made a big deal out of it because he thought it was so funny. But that being said, if you make any sort of account anywhere, just know that we see your usernames, like we see all of that kind of stuff. That can be like a little embarrassing sometimes. Okay, so lastly, I want to share the story that is absolute craziest. It's not a short story, it's like a long story, but I had this woman call me. I'm not gonna say her like personal information because I have no idea what her name was or anything like that. I don't remember any of that. This is just like a interesting story to share. But she called in saying that her husband passed away, and I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry your husband passed away. She's like, every month there's this amount that's leaving my bank account, and she was just like, this, like 200, let's say it was $200. She was just like, this $200 has been leaving my bank account since before me and my husband got married. We have joint accounts, and we're trying to figure out where this money is going to. So I was able to verify her husband's account because her name was on it, so I was allowed to talk to her. Some people don't put any names because they're like, I don't want anyone finding out my personal information. But she was just like, yeah, this $200 has been leaving my account since before we got married. I just want to know where the money's going. It was just like, I filed, you know, a suit with like Bank of America. It was like a bank, it was her bank. She goes, I filed an investigation and I wanted to know where they were going, and they gave me like this number. And so I entered that number and I found this account of this young girl, and I was just like, things are not matching up. So long story short, I contacted 3 separate departments to try to figure out what was going on, why this money is going to this account, and lo and behold, I find out this girl's name that she told me, and let's say the name was like Sarah, I don't know, but like she was just like, yeah, it's going to a girl named Sarah, and that is such a common name. So I had to like look through so many Sarahs in order to find out this account. And I was on hold with 3 different departments. One department I was on hold by the phone because I had to put this woman on hold who was calling. In this other department I was chatting them, and then this other department I was also chatting them. So I was contacting multiple places to try to figure out where this woman's money was going. Long story short, I found that girl's account, like, and her husband was on that account as like a parent. Let's just say that this guy was sending this girl money for 10 years, and him and his wife have been married for less than that. And so the dates matched up to what this woman was telling me. She was like, yeah, this money has been leaving the joint bank account since this particular day, and it matched up with the day that this girl's account was created. And long story short, the conclusion we came up with was that this guy had an affair, had a child that she didn't know about, and he was sending this child money through their joint bank account. And so that was the conclusion that we came up with, because that little girl's account, her husband's name is on that account. And so I literally did not know what to do, because during situations like that, you're not allowed to tell people what is happening. I can't be like, hey, your husband has another child. That's something that I cannot reveal to her. And like situations like that are so like sticky. Basically, I'm not allowed to reveal other people's information to her, even though the money is going to her account. I'm not allowed to say who this girl is, or that her husband knows this little girl or anything like that. She thought it was going towards like a charity account, and so After putting this woman on hold for like almost 3 hours because I had to figure out what was going on, I picked up the phone and I was like, unfortunately, I can't help you out very much. You're gonna have to call your bank and have them like, you know, cancel those monthly transactions or something like that. And when I told her that, she goes, oh no, don't worry about it. My mother-in-law wants to pay. And I was just like, what? She goes, yeah, my mother-in-law wants to pay for this charity account. And I'm just like, oh my lord. So the mother-in-law knows her son has another child and she wants to pay, I'm guessing, child support for that other child. I don't know. It was a very, very sticky and crazy situation. To this day, that is like the craziest thing that has happened to me. I was on that call for like 3 hours contacting multiple people, and at the end I figured out what was going on. And it was very difficult because when you're in situations like that, you can't reveal information if your name is not on certain documents. So yeah, that was definitely the craziest thing that has happened. Now, with that being said, and not all of my experiences were very like shocking or very like lighthearted. I'm dealing with people's money. So in this place that I worked at, I also got yelled at so many times because people's money were missing when in reality the transactions take like 1 to 2 business days or something like that. And I actually had this one guy make me like cry. I literally had a guy make me cry, and I actually remember this because this was like the beginning of the pandemic. And so this guy was just freaking out because like he had to turn in a form because he was like switching accounts or something like that, and I didn't know what to do because he was literally yelling at me on the phone. And so a lot of jobs like call centers, they have multiple like sources. They literally have like a database type of site right in front of them, so if they don't know the answer to something, they can quickly search it up and find the answer for it. And because that's actually what I did with that other woman, the one with the cheating spouse, I had to like look up a lot of things. And so sometimes we are not googling, but we are looking up stuff in our database as you talk to us. But this guy was yelling at me so much that I literally had to like transfer him to a manager. And at this job, I wasn't allowed to transfer someone to a manager unless if they specifically asked for it. I just was like, I literally cannot do this right now because he was yelling at me so hard. And then later on, I was asked, why did you transfer this guy? He didn't even ask for a manager. And I literally had to be like, I can't talk to this guy. I'm sorry, I literally can't. So even though I absolutely loved my job and I had some fun, lighthearted, and very shocking experiences, it was not the easiest. Like being on the other side on the phone is not the easiest thing in the world. Like I would literally get anxious when I would pick up a call and I'll be like, I hope it's an old person who just wants a password reset instead of somebody who asks the complicated questions. Because even if I tell them, hey, I'm not licensed to answer this question, I'm gonna have to transfer you, people get so upset. Please, if you see somebody working in some sort of a service industry, whether they work at a restaurant or retail, or whether they're on the phone, you know, providing service, like please be nice to these people. You never know what they're going through. And the industry that I worked at was heavily male dominated, and there would be days where I would literally see them break down and cry. I'm not saying that men cannot cry or anything like that. Obviously they're humans, they should show emotion, but like it was literally to the point where people were having like mental breakdowns while at work. And so even though you're not physically dealing with people like on the phone, like you cannot hang up on people, and sometimes people do get to you just by their voice. So always be nice. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and you found it entertaining. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. You wanna film a video? What's wrong? My baby.